Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. I want to go to pbs.org. Interesting that the public broadcasting service or system is highlighting this information. It says, after decades of pushing bachelor's degrees, U.S. needs more tradespeople. Now they're coming to the conclusion that, holy moly, people have been bamboozled into going to these four-year universities with the lure of what they consider free government money. Now, this was collusion between, at the time, the Obama administration and the universities to come up with a way to finance or continue financing college educations, because they were starting to see trends and problems in the fact that banks would not approve the massive amount of money required to actually keep the flow up. And so they had to come up with a solution for it, or better yet, kick the can down the road. And so they federalized the student loans. And basically, if you want to go to school, why, here you go. And it's an unbelievable way to get into a massive amount of debt. And it has, multiple benefits for the government, because now they have millions of people under their thumb just for that. I mean, a mortgage payment just for that. It's really difficult, especially in this day and age where you're starting to see the phasing out of a lot of jobs due to the implementation of some advanced technology like artificial intelligence that is phasing out a lot of white-collar jobs, because these management functions are now able to be done and run by AI. Wall Street is set to just get hammered. It was recently reported that Deutsche Bank foresees them replacing half of their workforce with AI. That's huge. And they're talking about in little as 5 years. So this presents a huge problem. Now, one thing that has been over a gross oversight, if you ask me, is trades, because AI is great as far as on a computer, but robotics hasn't really caught up to the AI. And so trades and maintenance people are going to be the last people that lose their jobs. They're also the ones that are the most sought out right now because of the gross shortage that has occurred due to the free money given to the government to send you to these universities, these fat cat universities. And that's what it's all about. It's a money-making scheme. Public education, a money-making scheme, and to keep you under your thumb, under the government's thumb. And it has worked marvelously to not only do that, but to dumb down the population. This is why public education is a plank of the Communist Manifesto. It's because it helps to control. You have an oligarchy at the top, a very small, select few people that run everything, that know what's best for you, and they need ways to be able to keep you under their thumb, under control. This is one of the ways they do it. And you can see, follow the money. You can see what this is all about. It's about rewarding the fat cats, keeping the thing going, keeping this whole deception going, that it's all these laws in place are for the betterment of the children. So every child is entitled to an education, yada, yada, yada. Is it truly an education? That's what you have to ask yourself these days, because what we're coming to find out is more and more it is not. Not to mention the environment that children are in these days is deplorable, as far as having officers walking the halls, having drug-sniffing dogs roaming the hallways, lockdown drills where rights are violated, and that kind of stuff. These conditions are normalized. Pavlovian type of behaviors are pushed in order to program the children. I mean, these are things that the public school does that it's designed to do. One of the reasons why homeschooling has become so sought out, and why people are pushing back, is because people and parents who see what's going on, that love their children, don't want to put up with this. But one thing that homeschool families have noticed, and a lot of them have taken advantage of this, is trades. They've seen that trades are, in high demand. And as a result, they're able to direct their children, hey, look, this is good. This fits within your strong suits, where you're strongest at. So let's go down this road. And they've been very successful. But yeah, PBS says a steel factory dwarfed by the adjacent Auto Club Speedway says Fernando Esparza is working towards his next promotion. Esparza is a 46-year-old mechanic for Evolution Fresh, a subsidiary of Starbucks that makes juices and smoothies. He takes a class in industrial computing taught by a community college at a local manufacturing plant in the hope that it'll help bump his wages. But it's a pretty safe bet. The skills being sought or taught at that school are in high demand, and it's part of an effort to encourage high school graduates to go, instead of going to college to get academic degrees, they go to industrial and trade schools. And what's happening, what you're coming to find out is, at least in my area, some companies are going into the trade schools and offering signing bonuses if they commit to that company upon graduation. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on right now. Now, to show you the scam, I have a chart here that is very telling. Now, these are the PISA tests. And the PISA tests are tests that are put out by the OECD, and the OECD takes these tests, and they're done. 15-year-olds across 70 countries participated in the last PISA test. This was in 2015. Now, mind you, when the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare was created in 1953, the United States was by far and away the #1 country in the world in literacy, in math, and in science. We were just hands down running away with it. Now, that is the year that federal government took over education standards and started implementing these policies. It's also right around the time that the Reese Committee started to investigate the endowments for pushing a communist curriculum onto our children, which, by the way, was eventually swept under the rug, and those processes, those policies, those curriculums were then continued to be pushed on to each successive generation since 1953. Now, just to take a look at this chart, 25 out of 70, that's where we rank the U.S. in science. We're 25th in the world. We were first. We're now 25th. In reading, we're 24th out of 70. And in math, this is deplorable. The United States, who used to be #1, is now 40th in the world according to the OECD. 40th out of 70. Interestingly enough, Singapore is the #1 country in the world for education. They rank the highest. They also have some of the most lax educational requirements. So what is the common denominator? Well, the common denominator is it's all about the money, because that's all your child is to the governments, both federal, state, and local. They're dollar signs to keep up this mill, if you will, to stamp USDA on your child's butt as they go down the assembly line, and to keep these unionized teachers employed in a system that was outdated 50 years ago and is effective in doing what it was designed to do, to create automatons for industry that required shift work. That's what it was all about. Because at the turn of the 20th century, we were humming. And that's when the Rockefeller Foundation created our education system that we understand today. The brick and mortar schools, the way the classrooms are situated, all of that stuff, product of the Rockefeller Foundation. But they've been obsolete for a long time. And now with the internet, that's totally obsolete. Problem is, just like the reason why we have tires on cars and still use gasoline in our cars, is because big oil will push back when it comes to trying to be phased out. That's exactly what they're doing, although they can't avoid it any further. They can't kick the can down the road any further. And eventually, education will get there as well. When finally they can't kick that can down the road any further, and they have to have that come to Jesus moment where this current mode is recognized as being ineffective and outdated. And how many billions of dollars do we have to flush down the toilet before we figure it out? And how many responsible parents do we have to, under duress, force them into a system that they do not agree with, whether it's because of religious beliefs or philosophical beliefs, or because they just realize that, hey, they've done the research and it's stupid? I think that day of reckoning is coming, and I hope it's sooner rather than later. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. Hashtag Wake the Flock Up. Have a great day, everybody.